For question B, it's the same thing. We're going to convert our rational form here into our transformation form where we have our vertical expansion, or horizontal shift and vertical shift. We can do this by long division. So we're going to take x plus 8 into x. It goes in there once. We end up with a remainder of negative 8. So to put this into the graphing form, we take our remainder and put it over our divisor. And then we add our quotient. That's what's going to be left over. So this is our division statement. It's going to be the quotient plus the remainder over divisor. So when we look at this, we see we have a vertical expansion of times 8. We've got a vertical flip. There's a horizontal shift of negative 8 and a vertical shift of plus 1. So our horizontal asymptote is at y equals 1. Our vertical asymptote is going to be at x equals negative 8. We have a flip, so we know that the graph should be, so our horizontal asymptote like this, like this. So instead of drawing in these quadrants here, we know that the graph is going to end up in these quadrants here. Okay, and we know that this is also going to be kind of stretched vertically by a factor of 8. For part C, so it's the same thing. We're going to take our denominator, divide that into the numerator. So we end up with going into negative 1. When we subtract that, we end up with 4. So putting it into the graphing form, we end up with the remainder over divisor plus the quotient. So again, we then are able to see there's a vertical expansion of 4, a horizontal shift of negative 6, a vertical shift of negative 1. So our horizontal asymptote is going to be at y equals negative 1. Vertical asymptote is at x equals negative 6. And we have a vertical expansion of 4. So this form is very useful to get our vertical and horizontal asymptotes. But it is a little bit harder to get a 0 because we can't, the 0 in this form here, in this form up here, the 0 is easy to get because we can solve for the numerator 0. The numerator in this case is going to be negative 2, and this form allows us to see the 0 of the function where it crosses the x-axis much easier than this form down here. This form allows us to see that vertical asymptote, or sorry, the horizontal asymptote here much easier. But we could also get that by using endpoint behavior and looking at the ratio of those two numbers. The ratio of those two numbers is negative 1, and again notice that it shows up as negative 1 here as our quotient.